Excuse me, I'm going to have to turn off Casey Musgraves singing Uncertain Texas from her album Middle of Nowhere. Hate to do that. Advice from a progressive conservative: don't accept the hate word undocumented. People are being held in American concentration camps that don't allow Congress people to check on conditions. Citizens and immigrants are being murdered in the streets by mass government agents. Children separated from their families and told they had to leave this country, standing alone in a courtroom. And yet a significant percentage of Americans still think the deportation campaign is going okay. What gives? One thing wrong is the unforced errors being made on the left liberal side of the great American debate. And one mistake I'm going to zero in on is letting the word undocumented be used to describe people. Now, y'all may not have 10 minutes to listen to me yak, so I'm going to try to quickly summarize what I'm going to say in the movie. Undocumented is a lie. Using it or not objecting to its use is helping the deportation campaign. Undocumented cherry picks the single fact that these people broke a law to get here, but I'm going to point out that that law was never intended to be enforced. Furthermore, these people have been invited to come up here by the private sector, and that's the most powerful institution in America. It's the free market, the private sector. Because they are invitees and because the public didn't stand in the way of this powerful force, they should be called invitees, specifically non-governmental invitees. The acronym would be NGI. And this progressive conservative is hereby calling for an immediate moratorium on deportations. We need to end the deportations now. It's one thing to secure and close the border. This movie is not about what comes next. It's not about what our final immigration reform bill should look like. It's about that it's wrong to uproot people and force them out of a country that they made a life in. This goes for all the invitees, including the Haitians, Syrians, Venezuelans, Afghans, everybody, and all the NGIs. That's the summary. Now I'm going to go back and sort of talk about all these points in a little more detail, but you've got the gist of what I'm going to say. Undocumented is a toxic lie of a word. Don't help Trump by using it. The American left generally and the mass media generally have long lent their stamp of approval to the use of the word undocumented. They did this early on in the debate, perhaps because they thought undocumented sounded so much better than illegal alien, which is like a space creature. But I would accept that using that word is a big mistake. It erases the person that it's labeling. It's a simple contraction away from unperson, undocumented person, unperson. We know we don't have to give rights to unpeople. But as a conservative, I noticed that it also erases and deletes the role of the private sector in the whole story. And the American private sector, let's look at this. It doesn't speak English. It communicates through prices. Price levels and prices. And with prices, it sends signals around the world. Like this one. If you can be at these coordinates tomorrow, you can have a job in a meatpacking plant maybe. Pays 20 times in an hour what you're making in a month now. This constitutes an invitation. The inviter, that is the private sector. Let's get this straight. This is way larger than the public sector. It employs many, many more people than the public sector. It is responsible for our prosperity. It's built on due process, pays all the bills of the public sector. As a conservative, I don't like it when a market's role in a phenomenon is deleted. The public sector, meanwhile, has made the law that people point to in order to call immigrants undocumented or illegal. These words have given debaters on the right the upper hand in every debate. And from what I've seen, they tend to win all these debates. They simply say, these people broke the law to get here, we're going to have to send them back. And that sounds like common sense to many listeners. On the other side of the debate are the poor liberals are trying to get people who don't have empathy to feel empathy. That's not going to happen. I call this a case of, in this case, the liberals are fighting on a battlefield that has been semantically prepared by their enemy. It's like if Alexander the Great used to attack from a side no one expected. He was a terrible guy, but he never attacked the enemy from the side they expected to be attacked from. And it's like having him tell them where he was going to attack from. He also never lost a battle, even though he was a mass murderer. So I'm not singing his praises. I'm just singing the praise tactically of not fighting where the enemy wants you to fight. But let's look at the law that they broke coming in. Back to the immigrants. The law that they broke. The law made it illegal to come here and work. But when you analyze a law that makes something illegal, you have to look at what's the enforcement mechanism. In Washington State, they just passed a law that said ICE agents can't be masked, but they don't have an enforcement mechanism on that law, so it's being completely ignored. Congress could pass a law making blue cars illegal tomorrow. They had no enforcement for that. It would just be an unfunny national joke. People would laugh at a law like that the way people in Seattle currently laugh at the law that says you can't set off fireworks in Seattle. If you're in Seattle and want to get a good night's sleep on the 4th of July, better have good earplugs or else you'll be sleepless in Seattle. The law against immigrating outside the legal framework was never intended to be rigorously enforced. If it had, anyone who was ever thinking about hiring somebody would have been put on notice that if they wanted to stay out of jail and avoid big fines, they would have to check a social security number against a list. Even before digital, this would have been easy as pie. I've been a retailer for 42 years. Back in the 80s and 90s, we always had to call in our credit card numbers to a national database, and we find out whether we actually made that sale or not. It wouldn't have been hard at all. If we had wanted to make this law, if we had really wanted invitees not to come here and do the hard work of America, we could have easily set that up. But every attempt to institute a system like that was defeated without fanfare in a bipartisan fashion. Therefore, we can say that the law against immigrating outside the formal system was for show, so that politicians could come back to their constituents and say, oh, I'm fighting so hard to stop illegal immigration. It was never meant to really stop this immigration, which has become a crucial building block of our prosperity, our financial system, and our prosperity, and it makes America work. I've heard it said that if everybody who was so-called undocumented, every NGI was deported from Texas, you couldn't get a house built in that state. So that's why undocumented is a lie. It tells the story of people's arrival, but in telling the story it leaves out 90% of the truth. Concentrates on a law that was a lie from its inception. The people now being murdered in the streets, left to die in new American gulags, where U.S. Congress people are not even allowed to come and visit, and people are being zip-tied for entire flights on airplanes so that if the jet were to crash, they couldn't escape from the airplane against FAA regulations. All these families being separated from children told they are not wanted here in this country. All these people are invitees. Call them non-governmental invitees, NGIs. The acronym works fine. And progressive conservatism calls for a moratorium on deportations now. It's one thing to secure the border, it's another thing to uproot Americans who've been living here. Thank you for listening. Watch for more voices, more opinions of this progressive conservative from Seattle, Ed Newbold. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.